Hey guys, um, excuse me, Game Nerd here, and I thought in honor of, excuse me again, in honor of Canada Day, um, I would do another technical blog. I've done about two of these technical blogs, and today we're going to be um, discussing the iPhone and the Super Nintendo as well. And we're also going to be discussing Sega Genesis, all stuff it runs on, and all that sort of stuff. So, this is in honor of Canada Day. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. So, first of all, the iPhone was created by Steve Jobs and um, um, Steve Wozniak. Now, Steve Wozniak, for those of you who do not know, um, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, they were the first people to physically work at Apple computers. Um, Steve and Steve Jobs and Wozniak um, they created the Macintosh, the Apple II. Um, Systems like that. Um, Actually, you know what? Way back when I quite enjoyed the Macintosh myself. Um, and and okay, and so that's um, pretty much it for the iPhone. You know, everybody, touch screen. Um, Touchscreen is very um, very. I would. I haven't actually. I don't actually have an iPhone, but I have used one, and I have to say, um, the touchscreen is more resistive than capacitive. Much like the 3DS touchscreen, um, the 3DS touchscreen is resistive, whereas, for example, this touchscreen is capacitive, which the capacitive touchscreens are much better than the resistive because you can do more with those with the capacitive touchscreens. Uh, Obviously more than the resistive, like on a 3DS or iPhone. Um, but that's one of the reasons why I like Android. And one of the other reasons why I like my this is Asus tablet. It's the operating system it is running on. It's called Jelly Bean, and um, some of the Samsung Galaxy phones will either be running on Jelly Bean or Ice Cream Sandwich. I kid you not; those are the actual names of the operating systems that the phones and tablets are running on. You go into a future shop, and if you have an interest to learn this sort of stuff, you learn a few things if you go into a future shop and ask some questions. But I kid you not, totally um, that is totally the name of those two operating systems. Like most Samsungs will be running on either Jelly Bean or Ice Cream Sandwich, or Asus will be running on either Jelly Bean or Ice Cream Sandwich, or if you get a Microsoft Surface, or obviously be running on Windows, um, Windows 8, which has the Metro PCS interface, which I hate. I hate Windows entirely. Um, Even with 100,000 code changes, program code changes on Windows 8, it's still still the worst it's ever been, actually. Um, as for Apple, Apple's come a long way, obviously, with the iPhone and whatnot. Um, and then you got the iPhone 5C. Okay, and then moving on to the SNES. The SNES ran at about 16-bit graphics, whereas the NES ran at about 8-bit graphics. That's, if you were following my previous videos, that's when I said when the SNES had enhanced graphics on it, I meant it was running on 16-bit as opposed to the NES running on 8-bit graphics. Where, like, when I say 8-bit, like Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, Pac-Man, blah blah blah. I've already covered this in previous videos, so I'm not going to go over the big spiel again. And when I say 16-bit games running on the SNES, games like Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country 2, Contra, Super C, games like that. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to cover, just in honor of Canada Day, and for all of you nerds. And if you can tell, I'm a nerd myself. So, for all the computer nerds on Canada Day, where I'm going to take the time, and I'm going to talk about the NTFS file system as well as the binary system. And I'm also going to talk about new terabyte memories and how much memory and how much space you can store on a terabyte memory. So let's talk about terabyte memory for a second. I've got an external Seagate external hard drive, and it's 2 terabyte Seagate external hard drive. I've got about, 2,000, 3,000 or more movies on there, music. I've got like 1 billion songs for music. Yeah, terabyte memories are wonderful. I've got a, excuse me, I've got a terabyte memory. They've got terabyte hard drives in the PS3 as well. My PS3 has a terabyte hard drive. My external hard drive has a terabyte hard drive. It's wonderful because you can store a huge amount of memory as opposed to like 64 gig, 32 gig, 16 gig, 8 gig, 4 gig, 2 gig. So it's a whole lot of, it's basically, a terabyte hard drive is basically, 1,000, well, a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. So, or no, sorry, excuse me. A megabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. So with terabyte memories, the way it works is the way it works is a megabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. So the way it works is like you basically the terabyte hard drive basically gives you 5,000 terabytes internal storage and your external storage as well. And you basically you're getting 1,000 gigabytes altogether. You're getting 1,000 gigabytes, which for a terabyte hard drive, that's considered extremely huge. Because because a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. Or oh shit. Sorry, a meg. No. I had it right. Never mind. There's so much in the in the world of being computer savvy, and a lot of it just comes down to bits and bytes and megs and gigs and RAM. Let me explain what the RAM is and the processors, because in honor of Canada Day, I have nothing really better to do, so I want to take time and I want to get out as much as possible. So, RAM is basically RAM is not just speed, but it's also processing power as well. For example, my my computer has an Intel processor. It's a 4-core, which makes it a quad, and Intel makes good processors. Also, my computer has about 512 gigs of RAM inside, and yeah, so it runs really well. It's got a DirectX 10 video card. I run 64-bit operating system. NVIDIA sound card. So RAM is not just speed. It's also the processing power. Being meaning the amount that can be processed. Meaning like the CPU, which is the central processing unit, and the GPU, which is the the general processing unit, and then of course you have USB ports on top of that, whether they be 2.0 or the new 3.0 speeds. The 3.0 just gives you a faster connection speed, which I love the 3.0. I got a 3.0 USB connection speed with my Seagate, actually. And where I am, we do have broadband internet, but broadband internet these days is not uncommon. I can personally remember myself dial-up. Go figure. I can personally remember dial-up, and nowadays everybody has broadband these days, or even some people have Ethernet as well. For example, Ethernet has two uses. One, That's what the blue cord is. You always wonder what the blue cord is. That's an Ethernet an Ethernet cable. And you have an Ethernet place for your Ethernet cable on the back of your computer or whatever. That's one use. You could run Ethernet in your house, or you could use You can run Ethernet on a PS2 because Sony actually had an Ethernet cord on the back of the PS2, where if you want to play online, you could play online through an Ethernet connection. So if you wanted to, you could use the Ethernet connection, and that's the blue cord. I know this because I have an Ethernet. I have an Ethernet cable at my house. I have an Ethernet. I could on my PS2 run an Ethernet connection through my PS2, but the broadband works pretty well, so there's not really a need to run an Ethernet connection. And I'd only use the Ethernet connection for the secondary use, not to use it as my internet connection, but to play online on my PS2 using the internet, the Ethernet connection. So that's about it for today. And remember, a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes, which is about 500 on a terabyte hard drive, which altogether makes 1,000. That's internal and external storage combined. And that's better than a 64 gig or a 2 gig or a 4 gig or yeah, it's a whole lot of numbers, and that's 128, and that's basically that's a whole lot of binary. And yeah, so and last thing I'm going to cover, because is getting to be long. I'm going to cover the binary system. Binary system basically works like this. All numbers I just mentioned, it's the same thing. It's 16, 32, 64, 128. And then the code goes 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 1, and on and on and on it goes. As for C++, same thing. A lot of this, the binary is repetitious as hell. C++, 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 whereas the code for Adobe Flash would be plus minus equals plus minus equals plus minus equals plus. So it just goes on and on and on. And so, as for the NTFS file system, however, Linux doesn't have that. That's why I love Linux. The NTFS file system is so, for example, if you're using Windows 7 or Windows XP, and you have to defrag, the first it defrags the C drive, but it has to defrag the NTFS file system first before. So it goes to the NTFS file system and defrags that first, and then goes to the C drive. A lot of people think it goes to the C drive immediately, but it first goes to the NTFS file system before it goes to the C drive, and then it goes to the C drive after it goes to the NTFS file system. So with that, this is an extremely long video. I wanted to do it in honor of Canada Day, and so remember that a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes, and you'll do just fine. And if you get a terabyte, well, then you don't really have to worry about it. I myself was pretty shocked at all the math and all the numbers. It's all a bunch of numbers, as you can tell. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, you just want to sit and play a game, or play on your Facebook, or play your Farmville, or whatever. If this doesn't interest you, there are other channels out there, but I just want to make this video and have a awesome Canada Day. This is probably the only tech blog I'm going to do for a while, because they're extremely exhausting, and sometimes after I do them I feel like I got a headache. So that's going to be it for today, and so have a wonderful Canada Day. Enjoy the sun, it's beautiful here, and I'll see you guys next video. Alright.